One of the most well-known moments in the years following the sinking of the Edmund Fitzgerald came in July of 1995 when divers raised the ship's bell to create a permanent memorial at Whitefish Point to honor the ship and her crew. I spoke to the CNN reporter who covered the bell raising 30 years ago.
I thought that was the coolest story that we could possibly cover.
In July of 1995, Ed Garston found himself on a boat in the middle of Lake Superior as the Detroit bureau chief for CNN. Divers were about to do something extraordinary, raise the bell of the Edmund Fitzgerald nearly 20 years after her sinking.
Oh, the mood changed in a snap. I mean, we were just from this bouncy ride in the four winds, and we're going, oh, we're off on an adventure, this is cool, to complete quiet, to complete feeling of reverence, to know that you are really above where people were buried, a graveyard.
A sacred site, some say, that has not always been treated that way.
This was a very, very profound feeling. I'll never forget that feeling because things just changed in an instant. And we couldn't take our eyes off of that red buoy saying, this is what's below there, and now we really need to do our jobs and be respectful.
Ed watched from a distance as the bell was raised to a ship carrying family members of the 29 men lost when the Edmund Fitzgerald went down.
I can tell you there were no smiles or a feeling of it's about time. The best way I could describe it was a deferred funeral. It was that type of reverent feeling and the type of feeling you would have at a funeral for your loved one, only it was much deferred, where they could finally, in their own mind, say some sort of goodbye to their loved one and have some closure at the same time.
You guys ready to pull this home?
That's how much the bell represented, because it came from the ship where their loved ones perished and were buried below the surface.
And more than 30 years after the raising, Ed says this story remains the highlight of his reporting career.
I've done thousands and thousands of stories over the 50-year career. This is number one by far. One, because it was a unique opportunity. Two, it had to do with a very famous or infamous occurrence. Two, just the feeling of being out in Lake Superior in this environment and watching this whole thing happen. And you just know you'll never have an opportunity to do anything like this again. It's a very unique story.